All right, this is a thesis statement review because I know that we're working on our essay, and I wanted to make sure that I made a video to kind of go over thesis statements in general. So we're going to use the first DBQ that we did at the beginning of the year as an example because it is a pretty easy example in order to create a thesis statement off of. All right, so a thesis statement, it should have a couple things. One, it should use the essay prompt. So whatever the essay prompt is, it should probably be rephrasing it a little bit at the beginning to sort of connect it to the essay prompt. The next thing it needs to do is it needs to mention the 3 things you are talking about in your body paragraphs. All right, so it's really, really important that when you have your introduction, that the final sentence is your thesis statement. And that it's sort of like it opens the door for the reader to go into body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, and body paragraph 3, because it sort of mentions what you're going to be talking about in those 3 body paragraphs. All right, so let's scroll down a little bit. This was the question from the first DBQ. What type of citizens does a democracy need? Now, I'm going to just remind you guys the 3 types of citizens that they talked about were responsible citizens, participatory citizens, as well as justice-oriented citizens. So the first one, we're going to say it was personally responsible citizens. The next one was participatory citizens. And then last one was justice-oriented citizens. Okay, so if you are going to do a very, very basic thesis statement, the basic thesis statement really should just include the question and those 3 things. And the 3 things should be in order. So whatever you're talking about in body paragraph 1, it should come first. Body paragraph 2 is second. Body paragraph 3 is third. So at the bare minimum, you need to combine those 3 things with the question. And I will show you what you do. So you should start with the question first. What we know is there's going to be 3 types of citizens that a democracy needs. So that's going to be the beginning of it. There are 3 types of citizens a democracy needs. And then what you're going to do is you're going to list them. You're going to say personally responsible, participatory, and justice-oriented. You're going to do that in order. So you're going to say personally responsible citizens. I'm always going to spell that word wrong. It's so bad. Participatory citizens. And justice-oriented citizens. Period. If you only do this with an essay, where you take part of the question and then you say the 3 things that are going to be in your body paragraphs, like the big ideas, then that is all you need for your thesis statement. If you would like to write a thesis statement that is a little higher level, because this is really like 6th grade basic thesis statement. But if you don't know how to write a thesis, there's nothing wrong with starting there. But for a more concise thesis statement, one that's a little bit longer, but is a higher level thesis statement, you want to put in a little more detail. So this is one that you could write down instead. So this is a higher level thesis statement. Okay, the higher level thesis is for a democracy to thrive, because that's really what it talks about, is needing these 3 types of citizens for a democracy to do well. It will need citizens who are responsible. See, I told you I'm going to spell this wrong every time. Responsible for their actions, because that's what personally responsible means. They're responsible for themselves and their own actions. Citizens who participate in activities that help their community, and it must have citizens who will fight for sweeping change and justice. Now, if you see, I still use part of the question. What did we need for a democracy to do well? What does a democracy need? That's right here. We still talked about personally responsible citizens, responsible. We still talked about participatory citizens, participate. And we still talked about justice-oriented. But what I did is I made it a little bit longer, a little more detailed, and it sounds smoother. The basic thesis is the bare minimum, and it's kind of a skeleton of a thesis, but it gets the job done. The higher level thesis has just little bits of info in it that make it so it's a little smoother. So we want to aim for this. Remember that if you are struggling writing a thesis statement, either one of these is going to work. So please go back into your essay and try to check it out.